Oil prices are rebounding today after dropping to the lowest level in months on weak U.S. demand. U.S. crude oil inventories rose unexpectedly last week as exports and domestic demand weakened. On the supply side, OPEC and its allies agreed to a small increase in their collective output, equal to about 0.1% of global oil demand. WTI is now trading at $90 a barrel and Brent at $96 a barrel. In recent months, oil and gas companies have raked in record profits from soaring energy prices. Profits for the two largest U.S. oil companies, ExxonMobil and Chevron, nearly doubled compared to last year. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has slammed the grotesque greed of energy majors. He's urging governments to tax excessive profits and use the proceeds to boost social spending.
It is immoral for oil and gas companies to be making record profits from this energy crisis on the back of the poorest people and communities and at a massive cost to the climate. The combined profits of the largest energy companies in the first quarter of this year are close to $100 billion. I urge all governments to tax these excessive profits and use the funds to support the most vulnerable people through these difficult times.
Now let's try and make sense of all of this now. Let's go to Osama Rizvi, who is Primary Vision Energy and Economic Analyst in Lahore. Many thanks for being with us this morning, Osama. So first of all, the Biden administration tried to somewhat downplay the small size of the increase, trying to highlight that, in essence, oil prices have already declined in recent weeks. It's true. I mean, we are seeing today WTI trading at $90 a barrel, Brent at 96. But do you think that prices will continue to rise, in your opinion, or is it true what Biden said?
It's at this point, at this stage, I think we cannot really make an estimate regarding the future trajectory of prices. What I can say is that I'll try to highlight two factors, So as long as the Russian-Ukrainian conflict goes on, the bullish side, the upside to prices, we cannot rule that out. A single news item, a single news development, any exchange of words between European countries and Russia, they can trigger off another rally in oil prices. However, on the other hand, I do believe that the bearish factors are piling up. First of all, it was only recession. The recessionary fears, the expected impending demand destruction, that has sort of stabilized the oil prices. And secondly, what is happening in Taiwan right now, and this might be laying the foundation of another trade war between US and China. So if it remains in that economic domain, I think that will really put downward pressure on the consumer sentiment, global sentiment, and prices might fall further. If it remains like that, if there is a military escalation, God forbid, between US and China as well, the effect would be opposite.
Interesting, right, Osama? So there is a potential bearish outlook there. And I want to ask you as well, after this tiny output rise, what are OPEC Plus's next steps in practice? By how much can they increase production?
So I'll talk about the de facto leader of OPEC group, Saudi Arabia. They're producing right now around 10.78 million barrels. And currently they have a capacity to produce 12 million barrels per day. They have recently said many a times that they will take it up to 13 million barrels per day of capacity, but there are doubts about that figure, and mostly the estimates center around somewhere around 11.5. That is one part. However, the question is, why would they even want to raise their production? We're just talking about recession. We're just talking about demand destruction. Plus, the spare capacity right now is at 2%, which is already very low, razor thin. So I don't think that there is currently an incentive, or in the near term, there would be an incentive for them to raise prices. They have this agreement. They don't want to, really incense Russia as well, because they're partners in this very cartel. So I don't see any need for any significant increase. But if they did, there is like 1.35 million barrels per day. That's the addition they can do.
Osama Rizvi, many thanks for this update.